Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Sunday's Best. It's 7 o'clock p.m. and we're going to get started. And I trust that you've had a great weekend thus far. As you can see, I have a different setting in my background tonight. Didn't want to miss coming on this last Sunday of the month and wrapping up and finishing what we started. So if this is your first time joining us on Sunday's Best, don't make it your last. We love to have you join us every Sunday, and we try to keep it fresh, we try to keep it relevant, and we try to keep it moving. Because, if you want to grow, you can't remain stagnant. And school was a place of learning, but your learning should not have stopped when you got out of school. So always be open to learning. And as we always do on Sunday's Best, we ask the question, did you pay yourself? Did you count yourself in? Did you have plans for your money? Because if you didn't, we're going to tell you tonight who has plans for your money. Yeah, you work hard for the money. Money. You work hard for the money. So you should have some say-so in what your money does and what it doesn't do and where it goes and where it doesn't go. All right? So for a review from last week, and last week we had a hot, heavy, heated discussion in a good way on how to cut your debt in half. And so those of you who are new, we're going to give you give you a few minutes of review so you can catch up to where we were. The month of July was dedicated to cutting your bills in half. And we had a book that we were doing a book review from, and then some personal nuggets that I have discovered along the way, some wisdom that I have used, some principles that everyone who has taken the time to share with us has shared some great nuggets on how we can eliminate some debt. Because you know what? Debt is not your best friend. It really isn't. Not even good debt. Good debt is a liability until it's paid off. And we should always be looking for, if we got to get into debt, something that is going to be beneficial in the end, something that is going to appreciate instead of depreciating. And money is a tool. A credit card is a tool too, but it's how you use it. Like we talked last week about the brick. You could use a brick for building a hospital, building a bank, building a home, or you can take a brick and throw it in someone's window and do harm to their property. So once it's in your hands, you are the decision maker. What will you do with the brick? Same thing with the money. Once the money gets in your hand, what do you do with it? What will you do with it? What will you sacrifice to keep more of it? All right? So last week we said that we asked the question, what would you do if you got paid on Friday and you had 50% less bills to pay? What would you do? Have you ever lived under conditions where energy was not affordable? And I told you about my growing up as a child and how we didn't have indoor plumbing for a while there, and no refrigerator, no heat unless you made the fire from wood and fuel. And so we talked about the fact that now that we have all the conveniences of the utilities, there were things that burn or use a lot of power. And we figured out that if we put our heads to it and we're willing to make some sacrifices, we could easily shave $100 off of our utility bills. We could easily shave $100 off of eating out, and the cable bill. Those were just a few things. And so we said, when we say thank God it's Friday, is your paycheck being hacked? Is your paycheck being hacked? Is it being hijacked? Or you have plans for it before you receive it. And the important thing is planning before you receive it. If you can have an automatic draft to go, money to go into your emergency fund, money to go into your savings, money to go into an investment account, that's half the battle. Because most people, once they get the money in their hands, that is the problem. All right? And let's see what else we talked about last week. We said credit card interest is keeping most people broke. And we talked about how much interest on credit cards. And then we listed out 10 appliances that you need to watch how you use them. Because to misuse or abuse the use of anything usually causes a problem in the end. And we said your heating system uses up about 31%, and cooling about 11%, refrigerator 4%, and we went on down the line. And we talked about ways, and I want to know if you remembered to call your utility company and ask them to do a smart assessment of how you can, energy audit on, you may need some more insulation, maybe a simple thing, as simple as weather stripping in the door of your home. And the smart way to cook, if you can cook more than one meal at a time, using the same amount of energy or maybe a little bit more, but certainly not as if you cooked every day and turn on that oven. So energy saving tips when you do your laundry, because the biggest bills in a household is your mortgage or your rent, your utilities, your taxes, your insurance. So why not try to save and conserve wherever you can? And then we were reminded that this book that we were reading was written quite some time ago. So now they have more energy efficient appliances. So I didn't say go out and run and buy one because it's energy efficient and you'll save money. But I said you should do your research ahead of time so that when it's time to buy, not only will you get a good deal, not only will it be energy efficient, but it will help you to cut your bills in half. So again, certain appliances you can save 25% energy just depending on how you use them. So I don't know about you, but since last week to now, even though I haven't been inside at home, flipping the light switch or trying to conserve on the refrigerator, I'm doing it where I am. Because you know what? Make it a habit. Make it a habit. And not only should you try to save for yourself, but you need to look out for the other person sometime too. So no matter where you are, on vacation or whatever, somebody's trying to save. And if it's not going to be an inconvenience to you, you can contribute to that. So let's see. We did say that since the pandemic, people were already living paycheck to paycheck, but that number has increased. 70% of Americans, 70% are living paycheck to paycheck. And if they miss just one paycheck, that can cause financial disaster. So the first priority should be to cover your four walls. Know that when you walk out the door or when you get up and sit at your computer and start your day, know what your purpose is in working. None of us work just because we want to work, or should I say, Most people work because there's a need. And we're going to talk about a few of those needs and how we can improve how we operate, how we manage money to, get the edge. I told you, at 10 years old, I knew that I wanted to be on the right side of money. I knew that I wanted to be the person collecting the rent and not the person paying the rent. And that was when rent was $12 a week. I still wanted to be on the right side of money. And at 10 or 11 years old, I had it in my mind one day, and I said then when I get big, meaning when I grew up, I was going to own something. I was going to be the person collecting, not the person paying. All right? So some lessons are learned early, but sometimes we learn it early and we forget about it. And we think that we take things for granted. We think somebody owes us something, or we think that we got here on our own and that what we have is totally because of us. And it's a hurtful place when you have to be put in your place, when you have to be humbled, when you forget humble beginnings. So learn the lesson, learn it well, and it'll benefit you. It's wisdom that you should carry with you. Don't leave home without it. It's wisdom that you should carry with you from your childhood through your senior golden years. And the four walls that you need to be thinking about and covering: food, shelter, transportation, and clothing. And it's been said that if I got food in my belly, I got a roof over my head, I got clothes on my back, I can make my way to tomorrow. I can live to fight another day. So you need those four things. And we're going to talk more about those in tonight's session. So again, the question is, have you paid yourself? Are you trying to cut your bills in half? Because the month of August is going to be some principles from Complete Guide to Money Makeover. All right. And this book by Dave Ramsey I read it first December 2016. And now I'm going over it again. And I just want to give you a few nuggets from last week, and then we'll go for about 15 minutes on today's topic. Last week we said there are 5 steps to force your way out of poverty. 5 steps to force your way out of poverty. Just because you've been broke once or twice, or you might even be broke right now, it doesn't mean that that's your permanent location or your permanent address. That's just where you are right now. Okay? And all of us, to be honest, have been there at one point or another. And those that have been in a better position, it's because you learned your lesson early, or you listened, or you got educated, and then you applied that education. Because it's not enough to get knowledge. You got to apply it. All right? And so we said not M&M. Is monitoring your money. And I'll add another M. Monitoring your money and your mindset. 3 M's. And it says most people make money, but they spend more money than they make. Then they ask, what happened to my money? Well, the question is, when was the last time you saw it? What were you doing? What was your money doing for you? Was it telling you what to do? Or were you giving your money directions? So the 3 M's, monitoring. How often do you look at your bank account? If you've got several bank accounts, you might want to look at them a couple of times a week. You might say, well, it's not growing. Well, just be sure nobody's taking the little bit that you do have. All right? So stay in contact with your money. Know what you got going on. Know what you need to get to the next $100, then to get to the next $1,000, then to say, hey, I got $10,000. Money can grow. You need to grow. And if you grow and your money grows and you're fruitful and you multiply and your money multiply, then that's when you can see yourself getting out of debt and reforming yourself. I heard a video it said, how do you reform a shopaholic? And it said, with a layoff and with no money and no credit cards, you get it. When you don't have access to the money, then you get reformed. You can break that habit. So never say, I can't live without that, because there's not too much, especially stuff that we can't live without, like a new dress or a new outfit or a new purse or pair of shoes or a new car. We all can find a different way to do that. And it says, monitoring your money, your mindset, sell some things, monitor, see if you are actually holding on to some things that can help you build your emergency fund. You might need to downsize. Maybe where you live in is too much for you. Now, after the children are away at college or married or gone or whatever, what sacrifices are you willing to make? That's one of the things. 5 steps to force you to get out of poverty. Increase your income. But most times it's not that we love to make more money. It's not that we need more money. It's that we need to know how to manage the money that we do have first before we ask for our territory to be enlarged. Because if you're a big spender of what you haven't earned yet, you'll be even a bigger spender of bigger income or bigger access to more money. Pay down debt. That's the way to get out of poverty. Pay down debt. And we talked about how that $6,000 on a credit card at 20% interest for 45 years is costing you millions, not hundreds of thousands, but millions of dollars. And guess who's making that money, folks? We'd say, well, nobody would pay 20%. If you got a credit card and they consider you a high risk, you're going to pay 20%. All right? So, investing is another one. Find a way to invest money where your money is working for you right now, while you're sitting here listening to me, while you're on vacation, while you're making money, while you're working for someone else, while you're sleeping. Imagine that, making money in your sleep. And when I said I wanted to be on the right side of money, I learned how to make money in my sleep. And you can too. And that'll be another session that we'll talk about. Education, folks, is the 5th one. What you don't know about money can cost you more than you can afford to pay. What you don't know about money can cost you a lot. What you don't know about money is the fact that if you abuse it, you will never, ever become wealthy. So, again, mindset, money management, increase your income, invest smarter, and always be open to learning. So those were the things that we talked about last week. So, tonight, as we begin August tomorrow, August is my birth month, and I just want to tell you how blessed, how great I feel. This week, I wasn't expecting it, but I got an email from my office, and it said that I was the top producer of the quarter. Now, I wasn't looking, I wasn't trying to do that. Things were happening for me. Doors were being opened that I didn't even knock on. All right? And that's a blessing. And I say, it's my business to open doors for you. That's because I love serving. And so I say thanks, Columbia. Thanks to those who are from out of town that have done business with me. And it's still paying off at 72 years old at being in this business for 36 plus years. So I thank you for that. And another great announcement that I want to share with you, because I want you to share in it as well. I've been selected for my story in my book to be featured in Soul Vision magazine, and that will be released tomorrow. And as I get more information on it, how you can review it, I will definitely be posting that tomorrow. So again, God has made room for me at a table. The feature on the cover is somebody from WNBA, and I understand that it's going to be packed with great featured stories of people that have had success in one form or another. So I thank you for that, and I want you to celebrate me with that. They're featuring me in that magazine for my 72nd birthday. So put up that $sign if you have paid yourself. What you don't know about money can keep you broke. So taking control of your money is only 20%. 80% is being diligent and being responsible with that other 80%. And so 20% is head knowledge. The rest of it is your behavior, what you do with the money. So if 20% of it is head knowledge, learn all you can. But if the 80% of not being broke is your behavior, it's time to check in and check yourself out. Are you doing the best thing with your hard-earned money? And so my question is, what's your relationship with money? Is it confusion? Is it aggression? Is it friendship? Is it mad money? What is your relationship with money? Because like in any relationship with human beings, if you don't talk about it, if you're not on the same page, if you are the only person in your house responsible for the money, you have no one else to blame, then it's time that you get your head, your heart, and the rest of your body in the game if you plan to play to win. It's time out for sitting on the sideline and watching everybody else have success. You know, the reality shows for everybody else. And so the question is, we talked about credit cards last week and how they can be your friend in need if you know how to use them. So, did you cut any credit cards up? Did you put them on freeze? Put them in a plastic bag and put them in a refrigerator? Did you perform plastic surgery? Because sometimes you can't get rid of the problem until you get to the core of it. And sometimes that means cutting out what is causing the pain. And so if credit cards are causing you pain, then you need to learn more about them. Another question, what would you do if you had an extra $100 this next pay period? What about $200? What about $500? Before we finish with the session for August, we're going to teach you how to have money flowing in, extra 100, 200, 500, and even more. All right? So that's what we're looking toward for the month of August. Another question. We said 20% of it is mindset. Can you defeat debt? Do you believe that you can defeat debt? What would you give up? What would you compromise? How uncomfortable are you willing to be in order to be debt-free? Those are questions in this money makeover that we're going to discover. This is a real important one. It says that if a person had a $5,000 emergency, it would be disastrous for them and their family. So my question is, if you had a $5,000 emergency and you didn't have the money, name 5 people. Think of 5 people that you could go to and possibly borrow $5,000 to help you out of a dire straits. Name 4. What about 2? If you had 2 people that you could depend on and you got $2,500 from each, if you don't have that kind of safety net, if you don't have that kind of assurity that you got somebody who can help you out, then you really, 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 really need a complete money makeover. Because the 2008 Gallup poll says that 32% of Americans would totally fold if they had a $5,000 emergency. They would have no one and nowhere to turn. That would be pretty bad. So let's talk about 3 basic reasons why you need to save money. 3 reasons. Number 1, emergencies. Number 2, for purchases. Number 3, for investing and creating wealth. Number 1, emergency. What are emergency? Why do you set up emergency money? It's protection against the unexpected. Needing a new wardrobe is not an emergency. Needing to buy or design a purse is not an emergency. Your child needs uniforms for school because they outgrew what they had last year. That might qualify. The air condition goes out in the house or the car. You have a blowout, a tire, and you can't continue to drive on the spare. That might be an emergency. But that's one of the reasons why you need to save. Purchases. Why do you need to save for big or major purchases? Because if you pay cash, you're less likely to be getting into more debt and robbing Peter to pay Paul and living paycheck to paycheck. Paying cash helps keep you out of debt. Now, here's one more thing on that paying cash. You heard of the 90-day same as cash? There's more to it than that. Did you know that 90% of the people, 100% of the people, when they make that purchase 90 days same as cash. They honestly believe that give me 90 days, I'll have the cash to pay. And if you do, great, there's no interest. But guess what happens to 90% of the people that buy into or sign on to the 90 days same as cash? They don't pay it off. And you know what? It not only starts on the 90th day, it goes retro to the first day that you got the goods. 90 days same as cash. And do you know that the average interest on that is 20 to 24%? But you started off thinking, remember we said mindset and money management. You started off thinking, oh, I can get this now. I don't have to delay gratification because it's not going to cost me any interest. But it's still getting you into debt. All right, so remember that about the 90 days same as cash. A better plan would be, according to the book, it says if you look around and you're having Thanksgiving dinner at your home and you say, this is the last time I'm going to have this dining room set. It is really old and we need to get a new one. That doesn't mean that the sale, the Black Friday sale, you go out the day after Thanksgiving and write a $4,000 check. If you can do that, that's great. But don't charge $4,000 for a dining room set that you could easily say, okay, I need a new set, or we need a new set. How much can I shave off of something else to save $200 a month, $300 a month, so that this time next Thanksgiving I can have that. So when we say emergencies, when we say purchases, major purchases, imagine if you saved for major purchases versus charging them on your credit card. And if you did charge that $4,000, the stats tell me that you pay $211 a month, and by the time you pay it off, you would have paid $5,064 for a dining room set that you said cost you $4,000. So if you had walked in the store and the price was $4,000 and they say, we've been having a slow week, pay me $5,000, you would have said, no way. You think I'm crazy? But when you make a major purchase on credit or on a credit card, you got to add up the cost. Money management and your mindset. The mindset might say, I can wait for this. I don't have to have this right now. And I can start saving to what? Imagine if you save $2,000 and you bought the $4,000 dining room set. You still put a dent in it. You may only owe $500 in interest instead of $1,064. So investing is the third one. How do you create wealth? You got to invest in something that's going to go up in value. You got to invest in something that works when you're not working. You got to invest in something that appreciates rather than depreciate. You got to have an appreciating asset. And a lot of people, they just don't get it. They don't get it. They said, investing is too risky. Well, it's too risky not to invest if your paycheck is not going 7 days. You got to figure it out. Mindset. So buying on impulse always costs you more than you can afford. Discipline. The key to building wealth is discipline. Discipline. Being willing to wait for some things. Being willing to be smart when you're buying a major purchase like a car. or like furniture, or like a home. Do your homework. Do your homework. And it says too many people lack discipline. They refuse to make sacrifice, and therefore they choose quick enjoyment. They want to run before they walk. They want to run before they walk. They're not willing to go to elementary school, to middle school, to high school, then on to college. They just want to be off to college and have everything at one time, regardless of the cost. And building wealth is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I can tell you that. Building wealth takes time. You got to give time if you want to build some wealth, some solid wealth, because compounding interest works. The rule of 72 works, but it only works if you have the discipline to start. And here's an example. If you can squeeze $100 out of your budget to set aside, and you start doing that at age 25, and you do it to age 65, guess what? You would have turned $100, and that's if you could get a 12% return on your money. And I could tell you how to do that too. If you can get a 12% return on $100, and you can do that successfully from age 25 to age 65, when most people think about retirement, you would have saved over $1 million. And I know most people say, I don't make $1 million. But most of you that have worked 30, 40 years, you've made millions. But if you don't have anything to show for it, I'm sure you feel like you didn't even make it. So, before we close out, how do I squeeze $100 out of? I want you to think about this second half of the year. If you haven't been able to save, and I know that most of you by September on the challenge, we're going to have $4,000 or very close to it. But those of you who are listening for the first time, or those of you for some reason you were not able to start when we all started last September, figure out, I want you to dig and think very deep. How could you squeeze $100 out of your current budget, out of your current expenses? Think about cutting the cable. That's a biggie. You can save a lot right there. Could you live without cable for the next 6-7 months? I bet you could. I bet you could. Reducing your utilities by using some of the things we talked about last week. Could you sacrifice doing your nail and your manicure, your pedicure, yourself for the rest of the year to save a couple of $100 or more than that? What about going natural? Doing your hair yourself? What about cutting out what we all love to do, eating out, and making a sandwich, or making a salad, or cooking a pot of beans, or whatever? Cooking at home versus eating out. You could surely save a couple of $100. Maximize your spending on your wardrobe. Mix and match. I said I'm working from home. I don't dress up every day to go to work anymore. I need to stop buying clothes. I buy very few. I go shopping in my own closet, stuff that I bought that I really haven't used a lot. And I know you can do the same. You can do the same. If you're working from home, your dry cleaning bill should be down by at least $25 a month. Drop the Starbucks habit. Drop the Chick-fil-A habit if you go by there every single day. These are just ways that I thought of, and I'm sure there are plenty more. The trick is starting, no matter if you're 20, 30, 40, or 70 years old. If you don't have the money you need to take you where you need to go, you better have a plan. Because guess what? Somebody's got a plan for you. Visa, Chanel, Gucci, Rolex, they got a plan for you. And it's not for you to succeed. It's for you to consume. And so remember this. We're going to be talking more and more about our financial status, because I'm finding that there are a lot of people in trouble. Young people and older people. A lot of us are not nearly where we could be. But you know what? We can get there. This theme for the entire year, for the second half of the year, is the same. Yes, you can. And I believe you can. And if you believe you can, and you're ready to get up off your can and do all you can, then you're going to have success. And so my parting words for you tonight, before I see who's on: never take advice about money from a broke person. Never take advice about money from a broke person. So look at your circle again, and if you can't think of just 2 people that could help you out if you're in dire straits financially, not because they don't want to necessarily, but maybe because they can't either, then you need to invite them to Sunday's Best for the next few months, because we're not moving off of this until we get up off it. And that means when we have some testimonies that, yes, I saved the $4,100 in a year, and I've never done that before. The average American doesn't have $5,000, and I nearly have saved $5,000 in a year. And until you say, you know what, I'm debt free, then I feel like I've done what I was supposed to do. So thank you for joining in tonight, and let's see who we have on the call. Okay, we have lots and lots and lots of folks. Sandra Bolton says, congratulations on Soul Vision. Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you. Awesome, and congratulations from Gloria Moore, from my friend Vivian. And she says, that's beautiful. Congratulations again. Thank you, Mary Winstead. I think once Mary joined us, she's hooked. She's been there. She's been coming on, and I appreciate that, Mary. And she says, congratulations, you deserve it. Jeanette Johnson is another realtor. I believe she's with Coldwell Banker. And let's see, Jeanette says, congratulations. My cousin Gloria Cooper from Florence, Effingham, says, congratulations. Gloria Kinley, thank you for getting on, Gloria. Gloria Kinley says she's saving her money. Absolutely great. Lily James says, congratulations. Thank you, Lily. Sheila Michelle, the praise dancer from Bible Way Church, says, congratulations. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Sheila. And my friend Valerie Russell says, congratulations. Thank you, Valerie, for all you do. Gloria Kinley says, happy birthday. Thank you, Gloria. I'll take that. And y'all put up with me all month, because I'm going to celebrate all month. Lavinia says, add to my emergency fund. Very good. That's and I'm thinking that she's answering the question, what would you do with the extra $100? Valerie Russell says, preach, Nancy. Gloria Moore says cash is key, and you can ask for discounts as well. I've done it. Absolutely. And Gloria and Vivian are from the banking industry. So they know a thing or two about financing. And Sandra Bolton said, had another blowout today. Glad I purchased my hazard warranty and have roadside assistance. Towing was free and the tire replacement was free. Praise the Lord. I paid the hazard warranty. Nothing was free. But remember, Sandra, we said it's better to be prepared and positioned so that when things come your way, you're in a better position. Genevieve Burgess, my cousin in Kingstree, says, squeeze out $100 by keeping a diary of spending and eliminate unnecessary spending. Absolutely, Genevieve, because one of the things that is mentioned in the book of Complete Money Makeover is to use the envelope system, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Sandra Bolton says, I cut the cord on the cable 3 years ago and also went natural about 5 years ago. Daniel, hey Daniel, Daniel is a lender with Movement Mortgage, and some of you on here have done business or are doing business with Daniel at Movement Mortgage. And let me tell you, he will get back to you in lightning. Like Sandra Bolton says, she does business both quick. Well, Daniel does the same thing with letting you know where your clients stand. All right, let's see if we can come up with a few more. Let's see. Great information, says Lavinia. Good information, says Jeanette Johnson. Valerie says she just told someone that. Get up off your can. That's right, Sandra. Get up off your can is what I'm saying to people, because I believe you can. Great lesson, says my friend Vivian. And Sophie Bradley is on. Sophie, thank you so much for joining us. Lily James says, always ask if there are senior citizen discounts. That's right, Lily. I'm not ashamed to ask. I asked. Valerie says, thanks for being you. And it's easy being me, Val. If I was trying to be somebody else, I might have to worry about how I came out, what I said, or how I come off. But just being me, and I'm glad that people accept me for who I am. Gwen, thank you, Gwen Mapp. Putting more into my emergency fund. Andrea Williams says, amen, ladies. And she mentioned last week that because of the emergency fund, she was able to get that new heating and air system when it was needed. And I'm sure that there are more people on tonight, and I will get to you as soon as I can. I know my regulars are here, and if not, there's a very good reason. So thank you all, and this is great information. And I will go ahead and say right now that in order to get through this book with all the good stuff in it, and it's about, I would say about 350 pages, we're going to be doing 45-minute sessions. So we'll be getting off almost like right now, because I may have to cut the preview from the previous week in order to get all the good stuff in. So again, I'm looking forward to the latter part of the year, and yes, you can do it. I know you can do it. You have to begin, you have to believe, and then you become. All right? So have $1 million week, have $1 million life. You know what? Life is too good to stay on pause too long. You got to play all out. You got to do it now. You got to do it now. Not later, now. Have a great one.